Alright, in today's video, we're going to be going over the logout music video. We're going to be going over how I shot it, how I edited it, and how the final product came together. So to start off, Daniel had the song, and we knew we wanted to shoot in like a wide open like field or just an area away from the city. And we started driving around. I started thinking of like some soccer fields that were like really big, like some areas that had multiple soccer fields like in one area. But then of course, when we went to shoot it, of course there's like some soccer tournaments happening, so that didn't work out. Then we just kept driving. We like drove out of town like 30 or so minutes. Kind of started thinking about these other fields that I knew that were just outside the city, and we were driving there, and our BTS videographer was like, hey, my grandma has a farm that it's an acreage. It's got a bunch of cool stuff on it, and we're like, screw it, let's drive out there. And the acreage is probably like 45 minutes to an hour out of town. So it was a bit of a trek, kind of turned into a little bit of a road trip. I kind of scoped out the area with the drone a bit, and then we just started shooting. I just started off with like a handheld shot with like a 14mm lens, and did like a little bit of shakes, but pretty smooth. I kind of normally start off with like a shot like that, just kind of gets me in the zone, kind of makes me feel comfortable with my camera again, you know. And then from there we started moving on to like some gimbal shots, some close-up ones, some mid-range ones. And yeah, I'm not going to get into like the details of the actual shooting like a whole lot in order, but I'll probably go over it like as I go over each individual shot. So yeah, the very first shot that you see in the music video, this is actually a handheld shot. It's a little like dolly or pan to the right, and I'm just above the long grass. Adds like a really cool foreground element to the video. And yeah, we saw this like old RV, and I was like, oh, it'd be like super sick if we start off the video with him just coming out of it and then like walking over to this old computer that we had. So I got the shot. I wanted it like, I didn't want it just like level with everything else. I wanted it like, you'll see throughout the video, there's a lot of shots that are like off axis, and I really like to look at those shots. So this one's a bit off axis, and then I took this like butterfly like overlay, and I actually had like a bunch on them. I'll click into this if I can. Oh, actually this is in a multicam clip. So yeah, you'll see here I have this like mask around. But take the mask off, there's like a whole flock of them. So I just kind of watched like the clip a couple times, saw like the movements that I liked, and I just picked two of them, and I got them kind of crossing over. Nothing too crazy there. Then this one is like just on a tripod, and I didn't actually do any like the zooming or anything like that like in camera. This is all in post. And I just set up the tripod with like a nice composition of the area. I knew I was going to do like some sort of zoom, like slow zoom in or zoom out, so I kept like a little extra room on the edges so that I could do that zoom in post. We did it like 2 or 3 times, I think, and then I was like, okay, that's good. And then Will was like, that's our like BTS videographer, he's like, yo, you got to do one more and have him just like walk up, stop, and then sit down. I was like, okay, like it's kind of, I guess so, let's do it. Like, it didn't sound like a horrible idea, but I was like, I'm probably not going to use it. Ended up using it. Looks sick. It seems like way more mysterious, and I don't know, I just like the vibe of the shot. You'll see here I like duplicated it, I cut out the screen, and then I added another layer over top so I could add like a little bit of the glare, the natural glare that was on the screen over top. And then I just took my logo, added like this, I just took the logo and then added a like little VHS effect. And then I added this green screen butterfly, but it's just like non-stop movement, and I was like, that kind of looks weird. Like, I feel like butterflies, like I haven't really seen that many butterflies in real life, but I feel like they're not just like sitting there like flapping their wings, you know. So like, we'll add a little bit of movement. I get it like flapping a couple times, and then I just like froze the frame, so it kind of stopped, and then I did it again. Like I pressed play essentially on the clip again. Moving forward, just like a few basic B-roll shots. This shot actually took like one of the longest shots, which nobody will really notice, but there's a couple Easter eggs in here. I always love throwing Easter eggs in the videos. So if you're going back and watching my videos, like check out for the Easter eggs. If you see them, you see anything that you might not have noticed before, leave a comment, and yeah, I'll be stoked to see that. It ended up being like a huge waste of time basically because it's so blurry. You can't really see it in the actual video. I'll zoom in here. But yeah, I basically put like my logo instead of the Apple logo, but then I put like logo, get together, my logo, log out, cancel, yada yada, and I put the date and time that I edited like that exact shot. So it's 2:18 May 27th, 2:18 a.m. May 27th. This one super sick, kind of changed the direction I went on with the video. This is, I think, the first shot that I added these like little glowing particles, which is a theme throughout the video. One thing that people have asked is the movement in the grass. Is that from wind or is that like in post? And that's all in post. If you look really closely, you can kind of see some of the lines. On the very first layer, I added this like zoom out. So I was walking back with the camera. This is just a handheld shot, but I added like a little more movement into it just to accentuate that movement. And then here I duplicated the clip over top and I masked out like the grass and stuff, and I added this like little movement effect, and I kind of just tracked it into the same spot, and I did it on the other side of them. Moving on from that, I then added this like particle effect and then tracked it to the movement that we did on the like movement out, the dolly out. I duplicated that like compound eclipse over top of that, and then this is where it starts getting a little messy. So we got hella layers of compound clips. So I duplicated that compound clip, added another mask over top on the higher layer, the top layer, masked him out, added like a really big feather on it, which the feather is basically just like the blending of the mask. And on the bottom layer, I added this effect called zoom, which just adds this like blur to it. So I keyframe that so that from the very beginning to the very end, it just gradually increases, which adds this nice cool blur on the edges. And then of course on the final layer, we got like the grain that I added to add that texture and the final color grade. Here, super basic. The one thing that was really sick was I took a top layer, or I took the original layer, I duplicated, put over top, masked out his glasses, and then added that dazzle effect again to create this really cool like glare on the glasses, which just looks sick to me. Here, all I really did was just color grade it, and I added this overlay of these bees. And I think on this one I might have zoomed in maybe on the bees. Yeah, I cropped in a lot on the bees because it's like it looked kind of weird the way it was naturally. So I zoomed it in, made it look a little more natural, and I took out some of the bees. But yeah, it looks pretty cool, color graded. In this shot, this is like a tripod shot where I'm like shaking the tripod. I masked him out, and then so I'm gonna go in here. I masked him out, added like a blur in the background to make it like the movement even more exaggerated. And then I added all these like flashing, like flickering lights and more blur side to side. And then here, this is I think the first spot where I add this shot in, and this is basically my gimbal upside down like this, camera on it, and I'm just like running / walking, like jogging side to side with the camera just above the grass. So there's a lot of foreground and it looks like I'm going way faster. Aside from that, I think on this one I added like a little bit of a zoom out just to add a little more movement. Yeah, so I zoomed it out. Looks super sweet. And then again, I added some butterflies. I think it might even be the exact same butterflies, except for the one I just like adjusted the spots. I think it's the same. Yeah, this is the exact same butterfly. I just like flipped one the other way. I keyframed the movement so it was faster going both directions, and then I made the one butterfly on the right here a little smaller, so that they weren't the exact same size. This one is like, I'm horrible with distance, but I'm probably like 60, 70 feet away from him, maybe more, maybe a little less. And I just zoomed in a lot and I compressed the field a lot. It looks really cool and weird. I added this shot of just like my drone going up. Yeah, so I put it in 20 times the speed, and then I added this overlay of these clouds. We're back at that handheld wide shot, and as he comes in, we got quite a few layers here, so we're gonna break them down here. So first layer is just him coming in like this. I added this, like, even though it's a handheld shot already, I added like this like shaky handheld effect just to make it a little more like almost glitchy. Right on the drop, I added this like earthquake, like shaking effect, and then I took the clip and I chopped it up on the second layer, so you can see it kind of goes back and forth there like that. Looks really cool on the drop. I duplicated it, and then was it on this one? No, so on this layer I did that mask out again and blurred the backdrop or the background layer, and then I added this like pollen effect, tracked that throughout the clip, and then I added like this glow effect to it. Yeah, I lowered the opacity quite a bit as well on that one. Then on the final layer I added this like glow effect and made it super bright, and then cranked it right back down, but just for that drop, like right in your face, bunch of light. And then pretty much after that, everything is pretty much the same. I'm just doing the same sort of effects. This one is just like a different overlay that I added, like a glow of, like the pink stuff is just like a different overlay, kind of like the pollen one, that I just sped up and added like a glow effect, the dazzle effect, and changed the color to pink, because I can't remember what color it was originally. But this is one clip that I really liked. I took a drone shot, I cropped it in, and I lined it up to that really long shot that's compressed. I lined him up so he's in the same spot, so then it goes from the drone shot to this shot. But then I added these like blurs and light flares, so like a lot of people think it's the same shot. Looks pretty sick. I added a couple like drag and drop transitions. I don't even know what else to call them. I think I only had 2, maybe 3, 4. It looks like I added like 4 of those throughout the whole video. A lot of time they kind of look cheesy to me. I mean, they kind of look cheesy in a way here, but I think it fits these scenes at least. And then yeah, to finish it off, I went crazy on the insect overlays, and I just added this shot of this like old barn on the farm. I thought it was a really cool way to end it. Added some butterflies, added those bees again, and then added those like little glowing particles that like all 3 of those are kind of throughout the video. I'll go like briefly into like how I color graded it too. It's not like probably like proper. I'm not a crazy colorist at all. So take off all the layers here, So this is what the original clip looked like without any color grading. I shot it in S-Log2, which is a Sony preset, and I added the color wheels to get like the exposure, like some of the exposure that I wanted. Film grain, because for this video I kind of wanted to go for like some sort of originally I was going to go for some sort of like pastel-y. It's kind of pastel-y, but it's not quite how I envisioned it, but it looks really good. Like it pops way more than I was actually originally going for. And that just kind of came as I was color grading. I was like, it's not the look I want, but if I do this, it'll turn into like a different cool look. Added the color curves to correct the exposure more. Added another layer of color wheels, which I just plopped some color on. Then I added this like pastel color grade LUT. And I turned it to like 50%, just a little below. Then I caught, oh, this is nothing. No, nothing on that one. Hue/saturation, turned up the blues in the sky. Then I added the color board to kind of give it a bit more contrast. And then I added another color wheel, which was just a lot more orange in the highlights. So yeah, I actually had it originally like this, and I was like, fuck, it's good, but it's like missing something. And I brought it to my buddy Tyler, and I was like, he's crazy at coloring, and he's like, I wouldn't change anything other than add some orange in the highlights. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. And it pops crazy now. So yeah, basically that was the breakdown of the logo video. Shout out to everybody involved. And yeah, check out the full music video, link in the description, and let me know what you guys think. Peace.